I wish I could be emotionally available.
I'm scared of dying
So
young like
success
my
to me
parents.
meant that I would have to choose between spending time with my family or putting food on the table.
I could have
I
done
feel
better.
like I'm losing myself.
It takes hours to fall asleep at night because what if things to death.
And after taking that uniform off, I don't know that I'll ever find that purpose again.
I don't want to be like my mother.
I'm worried I will never be financially stable.
I never feel like I'm enough for anybody.
I felt stuck in the
I
army.
wish I could slow down the thoughts in my head.
My anxiety and depression feel like they run my life.
I struggle to relax enough to do anything for entertainment's sake only.
Anxiety is something I have struggled with ever since my first deployment.
I'm scared of scarring my kids for life.
I'm just a broken potato.
Just breathe.
Hi guys, welcome to Season Crazy. We are your hosts. My name is Summer.
I'm Brandy.
And we have left sanity behind a long time ago.
And we're never getting it back.
So whether you are towing the line or camping in left field, we're here for you, babe. And it's Friday. Want to do our dance?
All right.
Friday, Friday, Friday. You know what that means? It's VTT. I don't have a VTT shirt on today. But I do have Stone Vet USMC.
Yeah, and he's on VTT.
So I'm advertising. Oh, look at his leaves. Guys, look. It's super cool.
They've turned into brick.
Anyway, before we start the episode, I want to give a huge shout out to Rafa 180, our sponsors. If you head over to Rafa 180, RAPHA 180.com and check out with Season Crazy, you get 15% off your order. And any order over $85 is free shipping. Having said that, before we jump into today's episode, Brandy, where can you find us?
You can find us on Facebook at Season Crazy or at She's Season Crazy, I guess is the tag. Season_crazy on Instagram. YouTube, you can find us there. Right now, we still have the unreadable URL, but
that's because it's y'all's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, we need some more subscribers, but just look up our mugs. You can find, if you search Season Crazy, you'll either find seizures or you'll find us. So you know what to do, and you can subscribe there and we'll change the URL. We are also on Apple and Spotify and Overcast and some other places. So just look on your audio platforms and we might be there.
And if we're not, then you let us know, and Miss Brandy here will do her magic and work on getting us over there.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay. Be sure to also check us out Wednesdays on our YouTube channel, like Miss Brandy said. And then, of course, VRS at 8 p.m. Central Time for a live where you can interact with us because you want to feel better about yourself.
Right.
Seize the crazy with us. No judgment. So today's episode, we're going to jump in and talk about probably one of the most uncomfortable topics. You ready? Self-care. It's like a dirty word.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it is. It's I think that we've been conditioned that if we take time for ourselves at all, we're selfish.
Right.
And I am a Christian. I love Jesus with all my heart, and I will be the first to say many times I've sat in the pew at church as a stressed out, spread thin mama, trying to be the wife that I know God wants me to be. And I need somebody to tell me, take a breather, mama. Go get some self-care. But one of the first things I hear is if you're focused on yourself, you're selfish.
Right. But you need to focus on yourself because I've used this metaphor like a million times, but when an airplane is going down, you're instructed to put your mask on first because if you're not breathing, you can't help others breathe yourself. You can't put their mask on and help them because you're passed out. You can't breathe either.
Exactly. And for all you Christian listeners, what did Jesus do frequently? He rested. He didn't need it, but it was his way of showing us self-care.
Right. And for non-Christian listeners, you know, I'm sure it's a generational thing, or like how you're raised with your family, mom guilt, woman, just overall, I mean, you feel it from everywhere. I mean, society's telling you, you got to do this, and get all these things done. I mean,
you gotta be, you gotta have, you gotta do.
Right. And men, I mean, they feel it as well, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how men feel, but I do know that just humans overall and parents overall, we get overwhelmed and we feel like we got to do all of these other things. But we also need to take care of ourselves and listen to our bodies and, you know, be comfortable in our own skin and take care of our health, because that's important.
Well,
mental and physical
and spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's mind, body, and soul. If you're not connected and one is out of balance, they'll all be out of balance. That's why we use the word being centered frequently, because you have to have your thoughts together.
Right.
You have to have your mind and your spirit together. So often you'll see these people that overcome cancer and they beat the odds. Yes, they've used chemo or they've used marijuana, which I'm a proponent of. But sometimes it's all of these things that they're neuroplasticity, right? They think positively.
Right.
They focus on the good. They do self-care. And we will see other people that lack that time with themselves and that ability to think positively, and we see them get more sick from something that was even less serious.
Right.
So self-care is obviously important, right?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about bathing, which,
I mean, it's still self-care, but
we're going deeper. We're talking about things that make you feel selfish. A lot of people don't feel selfish if they run in and get a 15-minute or 5-minute shower. They feel like that's an excuse. I gotta bathe.
Right.
But
or some people have a hard time bathing if they're in depression, you know, if they're very depressed. So that can kind of self-care if that's really hard for you too.
That's true. That's true. I guess my standpoint is what happens when we say, no, I'm taking an hour.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do 5 minutes. I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to lock the door and I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I'm going to watch my favorite movie. I'm going to go on a walk. I am going to lock the door. Sometimes our babies are crying, and I'm not telling you to neglect your kids. I'm just saying, mom moments, you have a teenager outside, shut the door and go sit in your closet.
Right.
And have coffee and call a friend. And yes, this is me.
Yeah.
I am this person. But taking walks, eating well. I have a bad problem of not eating well. And today, for self-care for me, is stopping and making sure I eat.
Right.
I have horrible allergies. I'm allergic to so many different foods. So a lot of times I forget to eat. I say I forget. I really just try not to eat until I absolutely have to, because I get sick.
Yeah.
Or I get so busy. What's the first thing if you have young kids and you get food out and your kids are awake? What's the first thing they do when you get your food?
They want to eat yours, and they want to talk to you, or they want to do all kinds of stuff while you're trying to. I love sitting down for a meal if that's like what we're doing. Like, oh, we're sitting down for a meal. And I mean, because I'm such a slow eater, I'm never going to eat all of my food while my kids are there anyway. I just like the sitting down part. But other than that, I just prefer to eat by myself when there's no kids around. That's what I tried to eat mostly when my kids are not around. I love them and stuff, but
because you feel guilty.
Yeah.
Here's another little thing of self-care where it starts. I've gotten to the point now, and this has taken me a lot of years. I have 7 kids. I've gotten to the point now where today I was eating and I was trying to eat macaroni and cheese. No, I'm not sitting there pleasantly eating macaroni and cheese. I have 2 toddlers crawling on me,
right,
and a 4-year-old that wants to play a doll with me, and I'm holding my macaroni and cheese up to like my face with very little room for my fork.
Right. Yeah.
My 2 toddlers want my food. My love language is feeding people, but I know I also need to eat, and sometimes I don't want to share. I've given them all of my food all day long, and I will feel guilty to say no. That has to stop.
Yeah.
We have to stop feeling guilty. And today I was really proud of myself. It's like, you're not getting my food.
Right.
Get down. I made sure to give you 3 different snacks before I sat down with my lunch. Why did they get 3 different snacks? Because I know me and I'm going to feel guilty.
Right.
I needed to say that I had given them multiple snacks so that I could take a win for myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do that sometimes too, because I'm like, I know I fed you well. I know you are not hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I do lots of little self-care things that, I mean, they're necessary. They're not glamorous. They don't take a lot of time. Like eating by myself, like.
Okay, but let's pause right there. I love what you just said. They're not glamorous, but self-care doesn't have to look glamorous, and sometimes we forget that.
Right. Yeah. Like, oh, well, self-care, that takes time and I got it. No.
Yeah.
I need my way of self-care. Like the other day, I had to, because I knew my body was about to get sick. I was about to have a flare-up and it was going to be bad. Because my Friday started off, I had to work from home because of the weather, I believe. Mm-hmm. And my dogs were eating. Okay, I woke up to pee. And I'm trying to, like, when I work, I need a pleasant environment, because work is already work. I don't need like something unpleasant on top of it. So I look back and one of the dogs is eating the couch. On top of my daughter had to stay home from school, who is 5, who is a very me, I need, she's very like, I want someone there all the time on a play. I just had so much going on. So my whole work day, I was just so angry and I couldn't let go of the anger, and I'm trying. And then like towards the end of my work day, I could feel my body like a flare up, and I was like, no. I'm supposed to have a good weekend. Like, we have plans. I cannot get sick. My self-care was I went straight to my bed. Like, I think I got the kids food or something, or told them to get food. I went and laid down straight to my bed, took me some medicine to relax, watched me some 90s sitcom, and I did not move for hours until I could feel my body like not getting sick. Like, and then I went to sleep and I woke up and I was like, oh, thank goodness I did not get sick. And it's not sick in the like I'm getting a cold. It's my body it'll be a fever from fighting off the inflammation and all that. Like, I will feel like I'm sick, but I just basically angered my insides.
Your immune system is attacking.
Yeah. So I was like, no, we're not doing that. And it worked. Like, that was self-care to me, because if I did not take time, if I did not say, you know what, stop all of it, I'm going to my room and I am just relaxing, then, and a lot of my brain was like, well, you really need to clean, you need to do this, you need to do that. But I was like, no, you're not going to be able to do any of that for a few days if you don't sit your butt down right now.
So what are some other, like, obviously napping, we don't consider napping, like you just said, as self-care. It needs to be considered self-care. It needs to be. Yeah. I do that as self-care. I have an autoimmune issue. We don't know what the diagnosis is. We stopped getting testing because it was every 6 months, but I had 3 different doctors say, you have an autoimmune disease. We're trying to figure it out. One doctor told me, I think the autoimmune disease that you have is what you have, and we don't have a name for it yet. Which kind of seems scary, but he was extremely reassuring in the fact that he was saying, what I mean by this is I don't think this is like you are going to die from this. Right. I think this is something that is rare, and you're going to be teaching us about this. Right. So I stopped, and I stopped getting testing because it was just making me so scared, and it was flaring me up and all of these different things. So for me, you said napping to make sure that your immune system calmed down. I think that that's a self-care thing. Yeah. What are some other things that might not seem glamorous to somebody else, but it's like, this is a win. This is a self-care moment. Brushing your teeth. Yeah. Count it as a win. Yeah. Seriously. Anytime that I can get alone, I count as a win. Like, I mean, for self-care, because, when dogs need you, kids need you, your boss needs you, like, when someone is always needing you, just being able to do whatever, I will be, sneak my own little snacks, like, sleeping in my bed by myself is actually my self-care. Yes. I'm still working on it, because my daughter will still, like, sneak in the middle of the night, or she'll make me feel bad, because she'll be like, please, and so I'm like, fine, sleep in my bed tonight. But then, after I had, like,
buckled down and made her sleep in her own bed for like a week, and how much I was enjoying that because I was getting my snacks, like my dinner, because really I eat dinner after they get to sleep. I was getting my food, and I'm sitting on my bed and getting it all like fluffed up and everything. I'm watching my show, taking my medicine, just eating, and like.
Do you feel like it was a whole vibe?
Yeah.
It was like this whole vibe for yourself.
Yeah.
This moment.
Right. And then when it was over, because she's like, no, but I was like, I need this a lot more than I thought. So it's time for mama to buckle down. You're going back to your bed. This is now considered my self-care because.
But it is. Yeah. If you have to go through all day, even if you don't have children, right? You're going through all day in a demanding job or giving to somebody or doing something. And it's like, you have to carve out a moment.
Right. Yeah.
That was your moment. That is your moment.
Right.
It might not seem glamorous. You're not going to the spa. We're not talking about your shopping day or your spa day, which are great self-care days. But sometimes that makes us feel too overwhelmed if we feel like in order to take care of ourselves, we have to spend money on ourselves.
Right.
How many of us have it?
House.
Go out of the house, because how many of us have the money to go out? Some of us do, some of us don't. Right. And then when we think we can't care for ourselves, or we're not going on a spa date or going to get coffee with a friend at Starbucks or some other place, we're leaving the house because sometimes we want to leave and we don't want to leave. We want to do those things simultaneously.
Yes, I hate that feeling where you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. I know, the sun will be good for me or whatever. And you're just like, but you're like, but then like that takes energy to like get in the car or, put clothes. I mean, like sometimes, if I
put
really,
clothes on, do the things.
Yeah, I sometimes, because inevitably every time you go out and you're ready, pajama, whatever, someone that you're like, oh. Well, whatever. I'm like, whatever.
Here's the thing also. Sometimes I think that we're told if we don't want to do things, we're automatically depressed.
Yeah.
No, we're not. It just means we need to breathe.
Yeah.
Now, there are times that you need to force yourself to get out to go with those friends and family that you love because you know you don't want to go, but you do want to go. So once you get there, you're going to love it.
Oh, yeah. I've had to force myself a few times because I realize, like, once I'm on the other side of the, I'm, like, having a good time. I'm seeing the people that I love, and I'm like, woo, like, just really embracing it. But it's the initial, like, gotta get up, and I gotta go somewhere. I'm so tired, and I gotta do whatever.
Or people. I don't know.
I gotta have people, I gotta talk to them. So sometimes self-care might be forcing yourself to do something you're gonna like, you just don't want to do it in those 5 minutes of going, oh God, I don't want to, like, I have to do this.
And you could get people to people with that you don't consider people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got those people that when they come over, you feel like you have to entertain them or you have to get them something to drink or your house has to be clean. And then you've got the people that's like, I don't, like, my house is my house. You're here to see me, not my house. And I really am not going to clean it. I'm not getting you anything to drink. If you're hungry, you better get it for yourself. And I don't have to talk to you. I don't have to entertain you. We can veg out on Friends or one of our favorite shows, and we can people together without peopling.
Right.
And I think that you're my person. Like, we could totally, like, all right. And that's self-care.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes self-care is just chilling in your pajamas, watching Friends with a friend.
For laying in the sun, I have a friend that told me she was going through some things, and one of her self-care moments, which is really, really sweet to me and really, really interesting, is she's going through a really hard medical time. She was in a lot of pain, and her body needed vitamin D.
Right.
She didn't know exactly why like this was happening to her, but she knew she wanted to get outside and she wanted to go outside and she wanted to be in the sun. And so she picked herself up off the couch and she said she was in excruciating pain, walked herself outside, and she said I had barely enough energy to lay outside face down in the grass.
Oh, wow.
And lay there in the sun, but I knew my body needed the sun.
Right.
And after 15-20 minutes she would already start to feel better. But she listened to her body, and that might not seem like such a big deal to somebody, but for her, it was everything.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're younger, you tend to ignore, and even when you're a little older, you tend to like, it's not that bad, or, oh, I can't get it taken care of now, so I'll do it later. And then when later comes around, it doesn't seem that bad because you've already been dealing with it for so long. So it's like an everyday a thing for you, no, we should probably get those things taken care of, which I will be talking about in another episode. We got to advocate for ourselves and our healthcare and paying attention to our bodies when our body tells us, hey girl, you need, or boy, man,
person, human.
yeah, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
Take a beat. Like, breathe in, breathe out, calm.
Gather yourself, gather. But that's being centered and listening and not feeling guilty. And this whole guilt thing is stupid.
Yeah.
Because most of the time guilt comes, people that are doing wrong and are doing evil, they don't even feel guilty. Guilty is not even associated with doing wrong.
Right.
Guilty is 9 times out. I'm not saying always. Sometimes people are doing wrong and they know they shouldn't do wrong and they're guilty. But most of the time people are doing wrong, they don't feel guilty in the moment, right? They feel like I shouldn't have done that afterwards. Guilt typically comes with somebody that wants to do something for themselves that feels like they can't, so they don't, because they're gonna feel guilty for it.
Right, yeah.
Guilty for taking care of themselves, guilty for going on that date, or guilty for having that cupcake, or guilty for whatever, fill in the blank. Guilt really has no place in our emotional diet, honestly, regardless if you're Christian or not. But I do come from the standpoint of Christianity, because a lot of times as Christians we feel guilty about all kinds of stuff. Guilt should not even be in our emotional diet.
Right. I mean, I think it's good to ward off evil. Like, I'm not gonna do that because I will feel guilty.
but it really isn't even about guilt. There you have a moral compass.
Right. Okay, I guess you could.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Like a moral thing.
You have a moral compass. So when you're doing something you shouldn't do, we can almost equate that feeling of I shouldn't do this, I'm going to feel really bad. It's that remorse.
Right.
And we associate remorse with guilt. And then we take that guilt and put that in place of remorse for doing something wrong. So then when we do something like self-care, we take guilt and put it there, and we identify that as the same emotion as remorse.
Right.
We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't be doing that. And so then when we're having our hour-long bath, or we're vegging out in bed, or you're saying, my 5-year-old needs to be in her own bed because I want to have my own time.
Yeah.
I'm getting guilty. And then you associate it with remorse, so maybe I shouldn't do this. This is my standings. This is what I feel. And I feel like axe murderers don't usually typically feel guilty. When they come to their senses, they feel remorse.
Right.
Right? I don't know. That's my...
Yeah, it's a definitely different way of looking. I mean, I never looked at it that way, like remorse versus guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And how and I'm learning to identify my own emotions, because I mean, in general, I know my emotions, like I'm happy, mad, sad, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm learning more of the why. I usually, on the surface, I feel like I know why, but I'm learning that emotions are more complicated for myself than I thought. I mean, because you can have you can be happy and sad and mad and all you can have more than one emotion at once. Like,
oh, absolutely.
My long-term emotion, I think, is anxiety and stress or something.
I'm raising my hand for those of you that cannot watch this. Right, I'm listening.
Yeah, and I might be stressed, but I also might be happy, like happy for my friend that something cool happened, or happy that I saw something super cool happening, but like my chest is feeling all that stress still. And then like someone might make me angry, so like I have a mixed bag of emotions. I didn't realize you could do all that at once.
Yes. And here's another thought. You are able to say, I'm happy with my friend, I'm happy for my friend, I'm celebrating with my friend, but then over here I have anxiety, I'm stressed, I'm this. But it doesn't take away from one or the other. It may make it harder for me to get when I need it to be excited, but I'm still excited, right?
Yeah.
Think about somebody that cheats simultaneously. They can have guilt, quote unquote, and still cheat. Right. The guilt is not remorse. Right. They feel guilt because they know
I feel bad.
I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna keep doing this. It's not remorse. They're not sorry what they're doing. They feel guilty.
Yeah, remorse is more of an after the fact whereas guilt, I guess, would be a before or during.
Well, and somebody that is truly remorseful does not do it again or tries everything that they can not to do it again.
Right.
Somebody that feels guilty will repeatedly do it.
Right.
So when you are on a diet and you feel guilty because you broke the diet, you're now training your mind to say, I'm supposed to feel bad about that, but I really want it. Instead of saying, I can eat a cupcake, I just need to know how to do it healthily.
Right.
And not feel remorseful or guilty for this, right? I feel like we put guilt in place of all kinds of things, when if you took it out, you would have to identify other emotions that you just said.
Right.
There's a plethora of emotions.
Yeah.
And if you can take guilt away, what is the true emotion behind
Or
it?
it's like the why. Like, why do I feel this way? Just identifying like the who, what, when, where, and why. Whatever the 5 W's of writing. I guess you could apply that to your emotions. Do some investigation, dig deeper.
And I'm totally open if somebody disagrees with me. I think that I would love to hear your thoughts. I think education and adult tabletop conversations about such is very interesting to me. I love both sides. That you guys might email or text us and have 5 different sides. I'd love to hear that.
Right.
This is something I'm putting out here just because I'm old and I've seen a lot of people feel guilty and never remorseful. So
Right. Yeah, I think guilt is more of a before or during, and remorse is an after the fact. Now that we've talked about it, I'm like, oh, how do I feel about guilt and all of that? Like,
simmer on it, and think about this, guys, because I think most of the time we feel guilty when we're doing something. A lot of times felt self-care, as it was what we're talking about today. So I are you remorseful that you're taking care of yourself? Do you regret taking care of yourself? Are you going to sit here and go, I really should not have eaten that snack by myself. I should have just given it to my kids. Or
right.
I really should not have taken that extra time to make sure that my stomach didn't implode on me and cause I had a snack.
Yeah.
And, or is it guilt because you did something you should have done and you just, we're not wired. I have a gnat.
Yeah, it keeps coming at me.
But I think that those are the things. Think on it. Simmer on it.
Yeah, I still feel bad for my self-care, but I've also learned that I need it, because otherwise I just become a ball of emotional, angry mess, because when you have to fill it, there's give and take, and you have to fill up your tank. When you can't just stay empty all the time, and if you're constantly working and pouring yourself out and not replenishing it, I just learned I'm just not my full self, because I'm just mad and upset and angry or irritated or tired or exhausted. So I gotta take that time to recharge my batteries, so I can take a deep breath and be like, can I help you now? Or what can I do? Or, oh yeah, I got this idea.
Do you ever feel like, though, if you don't take time, I still feel guilty about doing stuff for myself. I don't know when that'll go away. And I did use the word guilty because I do. But if I don't take care of myself, I get to the moment where I almost feel like I have nothing. And people are needing from me, and I react in a way that I know I would have never responded had I taken a moment for myself.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to prevent.
Yes.
Take care of myself before I get to the moment where I do have remorse and regret. That I flew off my hinge because y'all are poking me with this whole I need, or I don't get, because we tend to do things for other people. Sometimes they don't always see that we need help too. And it's not, we as human beings also can speak up and say, hey, you know what, I can't, but we don't, because we feel that, at least for me, it's hard for me to say, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I need you to stop, quit doing that, or whatever. And I'm trying to practice that before I'm like,
I feel like some people too are givers and some people are takers.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find yourself as a giver, which I feel like you are. By nature, you're a gardener, right? You're going to prune and weed and take care of things, but that doesn't mean the gardener doesn't need to be taken care of.
Right.
So you've also got to take care of you.
Yeah, I got to eat and sleep and do all those things to help take care of the people I need to take care of. yeah, self-care is important. It's part of your mental health and physical health. And
Yeah.
both are very important. I mean, I'm so happy that people are we're talking more about mental health
Oh, yes.
as
Yeah.
much as physical health, because if your mind isn't healthy, it's not helping your body. I mean, and
You can
vice
have
versa.
you can have this gorgeous body because you're physically working on it all the time, and you could be a train wreck inside because you're never doing anything for you.
Right.
You can have a body that by Hollywood standards is not hot, but it's not meant to be that way. Our bodies are not meant to be cover perfect, right?
Right.
Everything cover perfect. But you could be so healthy and so fit emotionally and spiritually that your body is on fire, right? Which would you rather have? I promise you, the body that has all the muscle tone and everything else, if it's depleted, is nothing.
Right.
You can be all, but you have to line all of it.
Right. Yeah, you have to decide what's good for you and what you want. That could be, exercising, or that could be sitting on the couch watching some TV, because I mean, I like exercise, but I don't like it. Like, we have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be sitting on the couch or maybe taking a walk in the park, or
That's
yeah,
exercise.
I like walking. I hate running, but I love obstacles, and I love doing things that do take actual exercise, but the actual act of running just to run, like, down there, I hate it. It's so
You and Sergeant G
boring.
are alike. He sees people running and he goes, "Why?"
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, like, I like what Dan does. He does the obstacle courses. I mean, the only obstacle course I think I've done is like basic training, but
Her cutie little Dan.
yeah, I know, right? But he loves to do like the obstacle courses, and it looks so fun, and I'd love to do that. And so that would make running worth it, but I have to get in shape to do that.
Well, it'd make it worth it too if you just kind of lagged behind him for a little while and you got to stare.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I also kind of want to just go,
like
be his cheerleader, like probably 100 yards behind, because I'm not running that fast, and be like, woo!
And then you see some other girl staring at him, you're like, move out the way, B.
Yeah.
And then she does roller derby, Brandy.
Ooh,
Still E.
obstacles on skates. Yeah, still E pants.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that we better jump off of here. We are going to be, even though it's Friday and it's VTT, we do all of this at one time because we're seizing crazy. So we have got to head over to our VRS 8 p.m. live, which happens every Tuesday. So join us there.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you guys.